In our last video, we learned how to graph equations on the TI-84 graphing calculator. But drawing the graph is only the beginning. Today, you'll learn how to move along the graph using the trace function. You'll be able to read exact coordinates, evaluate functions at specific x values, and quickly answer questions that would otherwise require a lot of algebra. Suppose I graded a set of papers and I would like to look at some statistics based on the data I obtained. So we're going to be using the stat editor. Okay, let's make sure that we have no functions defined in y equals. There's one, so I'm going to hit clear to delete it. Next thing I want to do is inspect my plot 1 here. I want to turn this plot 1 on. There's several ways to do it, but I'm just going to go to second y equals. Notice my plots are off. So I'm going to press enter. I'm going to turn plot 1 on. And for this example, since we're doing just simple statistics, let's do a whisker box. Okay, on my X list, I have student ID in L1 and I have my test scores in L2. So I want to make this L2. So to change this number, if I hit second and go down to number 2, you see above number 2 it says L2. So if I press that, okay, everything else looks okay. So we can go back to our home screen by going second mode, which is quick. The next thing we want to do is we want to go to our stat menu. So I'll press stat and I want to populate my information into a list. So I'm going to edit. There's already something already in there. If you move up to the very top in the header and press clear and then enter, and it will erase everything. Do not hit delete because it will delete the entire list. Okay, so now we're ready to enter our student IDs. So our student IDs we'll enter here. It's list 1. Okay, to enter our test scores, we'll press the right arrow, and then we'll enter those. Okay, so now we have list 1 and list 2 populated with our data. You don't have to. Let's go back to the home screen. It just gives us a clean place to start. Okay, we'll now go to Stat, Calc, and we're interested in doing a one variable stat. So we'll press enter. Okay, so in L1, I have my student IDs. In L2, we have the list 2, we have our test scores. So if yours does not say L2, then what you will do is you'll put your cursor there and you go second and then 2, and it will put L2 there. Okay, let's tell it to calculate. All right, so when it calculates, it gives you several items of statistics. X bar, for example, is the mean or average. All right, the sum of the x's, so on and so forth. So Sx, that will be your standard deviation. And this is your population standard deviation, which is sigma x. N is the number of samples, your minimum score, first quartile, Okay, the mid is the median or middle value, or the 50th percentile. Quartile 3, your maximum value. So in just 1 second, have all this information that will take several minutes to do by hand, and the calculator's done it for us. All right, so what if I want to see this? So if I hit zoom, and the preferred method is zoom stat number 9. Okay, so I'm going to press 9, and it shows us our whisker plot. If I hit trace, okay, it starts me off at the median. So first quartile, the minimum score, third quartile, and the highest score. So you can see basically the shape of, or the position of, where the median is in relation to all the other scores. What if I wanted to do some math with these numbers? Well, let's clear the screen. If I go to bars, number 5 is statistics. Okay, here are all the variables. Now, it did not populate all of these, but the ones you saw on the previous screen, it populated. So, if I wanted, for example, X bar, the mean, if I press enter, it's there on my screen. And now I can do math with it. I can either view it, like if I just press enter, I can see it there. Or if I want to do math with it, I can go up and grab it and it's say +5, for example. Okay, so I can do math with it also. I can do that with all those variables here in the statistics. So that's useful information there. Okay, let's try something fairly meaningful. Here's an example of a linear regression. Okay, runners are often concerned with their running form. Coaches want to tabulate stride rates, which are steps per second, to determine their runner's efficiency. So the coaching staff collected the following data for runners at different speeds. So we have stride rates and speed. So I'm going to let stride rate be my independent variable, my x variable, and my speed will represent my y variable, or my dependent variable. Okay, so let's go ahead and key this into the calculator and we can inspect. So as always, let's make sure our calculator is how we want it. So y is still clear. All right, stat plot. Okay, I want to change this. All right, let's change it to the first option. All right, I want my x to be my stride rate. I'm going to put that in my L1. So I'm going to cursor here and go second 1, which is L1. I'll put my speed in L2. Okay, so I'm just go down and I'm okay with the box. So we'll press enter here. Let's go to stat, edit. Let's clear out this information. So I put my cursor in the header, hit clear, press enter. And L1, put my cursor in the header, clear, press enter. So now we're ready to populate this. So we're going to let this be my stride rate, which is 3.05, 3.12, 3.17, 3.25, 3.36, 3.46, and 3.55. Okay, so the speed in feet per second, 15.86. 16.88, 17.50, 18.62, 19.97, .06, and 22.11. Okay, so if I want to view this, I can press the zoom key and choose option 9. So that looks pretty linear. Notice it looks pretty straight. So next thing we want to do is let's go to Stat, Calc, and let's do a linear regression, which is number 4. So in a linear regression, my X list will be L1. My Y list is an L2. Okay, we're not concerned with frequency lists. To store our regression, it's always good to store your regression. It takes a few clicks, but it's not difficult at all. Go to Bars, Variables. Go to the right to Y bars. Choose Function and Y1. So it will store this regression into Y1. And we'll calculate. So here's my linear regression. I have my slope and my y-intercept. Okay, I'm missing some information here. I would like to see the correlation coefficient, but it's not being shown here. So if I go to Mode and Stat Diagnostics down here, I cursor down to Stat Diagnostics and turn on. Okay, now I can quit. Let's go back then to Stat, Calc, Linear Regression. Let's go through this again. All right, L1, L2, all looks good. Bars, Y bars, function, Y1, and calculate. Okay, so it gives me an R value of 0.9989. So if it's close to -1 or close to +1, it shows that it's a very strong correlation. The closer it is to 0 on either side, the less certain the regression is. Okay, so the calculator automatically stored this into Y1. So if I were to hit graph now, notice it's drawing a line fairly consistent through most of the points here. That means we have a very high R value. What if I wanted to know what would be the value at any point along this? Well, again, we could use trace like we did before, and we can move along the line, but it's going along the lines that we've already recorded. What if I wanted to know, for example, something in between these numbers? What about like 3.4 strides? Well, I can go second, calc, value. If I enter from X value of 3.4 strides, then it will give me a velocity of 20.34 feet per second. So we can do the same things we did earlier now that we have a function here. Okay, another practical use for a teacher, for example, suppose I give a test with 28 questions. I want to create an easy grader to calculate the scores for the quiz using the graphing calculator. Okay, so let's clear everything we have. So Y is clear. I want to go to Stat. I want to clear these. Hit clear. Go over. Clear again. Okay, I like to do this pretty much with every test. So in L1, since I have 28 questions, I want to order this 1 through 28. But instead of typing all that in, I'm just going to put my cursor here in the header, and I can go second list, operations, number 5 for sequence. I can go x, comma, x, 1 is my starting point. My ending point, I think I said, what, 28 questions. 28 questions. And I want to skip 1 per step, and then paste. And then now it's listed 1 through 28 here. Okay, in the next column, I want to enter an equation that will automatically calculate the grade. So in there, I want to go math. I want to round off my answers. I'm going to go num round. Because I don't want to do this in my head. I'm lazy. I'm going to nest another parenthesis in here. So I have 28 questions minus the number they missed, which is L1. I want to divide by the number of questions times 100. I'm going to hit divide by 0.28. That's the same thing as dividing and multiplying and all that business. Okay. Comma. And here's where I add how many decimal places I want. I want 0 decimal places. I close a parenthesis and press enter. And if I miss 1 question, it's a 96. 2 questions, a 93, so on and so forth. So I can scroll down as I'm grading my papers. And that's one way of determining the score. I just count the number missed, and I can choose here. But what if I wanted, what if I said, well, the grades are running really low. Let's put a 5-point curve in here. So I can go up and go over to L3 without destroying this data. I can add a 5-point curve. So if I move my cursor to the header on L3, let's go to math, number 6. I don't want anyone making over 100, okay? So I'm going to take the grade, which is in L2. I want to add 5 points to it. And I'm going to tell it the largest number I want, which is going to be 100. Close parentheses. Okay, so it worked there because 96 plus 5 is 101, so it rounded off to 100. So it added 5 points to all these. Okay, let's graph this because I prefer to graph instead of following this table. Okay, so to graph this, first thing I want to do, I want to go to second stat plot. I need to edit this because I want to go L1, L3 this now instead of L2. Okay, I'm going to zoom 9 to look at it, make sure it looks good. Okay, looks good. All right, let's go to Stat, Calc. Let's do a linear regression. So it'd be L1 and L3. Let's store it again to bars. Oops, went down one too many. Bars, Y bars, function, Y1, calculate, and then graph. Now, if I'm grading a paper, I can use the value function. So I go second calc, choose number 1, value. So if a kid misses 3 questions, I press 3 and press enter, his grade's a 94. If another kid misses 7 questions, press 7, enter, his grade it automatically has the curve added into it. So you can see this is very quick, very clean, and this is the way I generally grade my papers. So today we built the foundation. In the next video, we'll discover that not every set of data follows a straight line. Sometimes nature prefers curves, exponentials, logarithms, or power functions, and your TI-84 can determine which model best fits. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. If you found this video helpful, please sure to check out other lessons on this channel. Please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.